So this video is called How People on the Other Side of the Veil Get Away with Things. And it's something that most people would never have guessed. And it might open your eyes to some things. So there's all sorts of different types of people on the other side of the veil. And even if you think someone is a good being, you're like, oh, this person, this angel, this God, whoever it is, you're like, they are good, 100% good. Don't do bad. They're perfect. They're holy. They're celestial, whatever you think. They have their own motivation to get away with things that are actually not good, that harm somebody. They could harm a lot of people. A lot of people were raised with this belief that this lifetime is about learning how to be more perfect or become more perfected. And that certain beings have already achieved perfection, or that a certain being has already achieved perfection, and that we are to become like that being. That's what you were taught. But what you don't understand is that even beings that, from your point of view are perfected, have their own motivation to get away with stuff that they really shouldn't do. One thing that affects this is that beings on the other side of the veil, you don't necessarily know when they're from. You don't know how many different timelines that being has actually tried out. So they can time travel. They can go back to the past. I don't know about future travel. Maybe they go to the future. But anyways, for example, they can go back to the past, tell someone something, come back to the present where they came from, and create a whole new timeline. Because I've had so many weird experiences that I've talked about in other videos, things where bad things happen, I've had to deal with different timelines of different people. And I've actually I've called out different people from different timelines. I've said, I need this person to come and talk to me from this time. Even myself, I've talked to myself from different timelines, or from different parts in the past, told myself different things, and told her to make changes and experience that. But things are a lot more complicated and complex than you could ever have realized just with the simple belief system that you were raised with. And so the thing is, I had this version of Jesus that's really angry with me, and was disconnecting parts of my mind, body, spirit, just disconnecting parts. So if you've ever done energy work, you are looking for making sure everything's connected. The heart is talking to the brain, the heart is connected to the soul, everything has to be connected. Well, this version of Jesus was disconnecting things. And so when you don't have things connected, then you suddenly miss stuff. You're doing your life and you're like, how did I forget this? Why did I'm a human, I make mistakes or whatever. And you're like, how did I not see this? How did I miss that? And this version of Jesus was disconnecting things. And I started thinking, but then yesterday, I connected with a past version of Jesus who was actually being kind. But then when I confronted him about things I knew about him, he was like, wait, how did you know that? Oh man. But he was like, why is there another version of me that's like, why are we enemies? I don't understand. This is weird. And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm trying to get justice against all the things you've done against me. I'm not actually aggressively attacking you. I'm just trying to get justice. So when someone who's an authority, a commander, like an archangel, wants to stop something from happening, they, have to go through a process, typically. I mean, unless there's enough, they have to have just cause, is actually what I want to say. They have to have a just cause. So when they they witness something just happened, someone did something, they have just cause to take away that person's ability to do that thing. Or they have to be like, okay, what can I do? And once they have just cause, then they can enact something. One of the weird experiences I've had in the past is experiencing a lot of abuse from people on the other side of the veil who I thought were good people. And I've had to use my own spiritual sleuthing skills that I learned from energy work and trying to heal, to try to solve who's really the culprit, who's really doing these things, and why is this happening? And it gets really complicated. It takes up a lot of time sometimes. But I remember yelling out accusations because I was trying to get other angels' attention. So I was driving around trying to get other angels' attention, and I would get their attention, and then they would come and help me. And for a time I might get to know them, or they might tell me some things about them. And but a lot of the times, something weird that would happen is I would get angels to help me, or I'd call for angels even. Some of the other times I'd call for angels to help me, and then someone would put a curse on them and they'd fall asleep. They'd fall asleep while they were trying to help me. And something would wake them up. It might be something loud, something out of the ordinary. And I wouldn't know that they were asleep until they woke up and they're like, what? What's going on? Who? Huh? And I would feel them wake up. And this created a lot of weird confusion. So I've always believed that witchcraft was an evil thing. But I've experienced Jesus hiring witches to literally curse me. Because Moses took away his power to affect me, to do anything against me. So he hires someone else to do it. So now what is he supposed to do? He's consorting with witches, paying them somehow, offering them something that he got somewhere that they want. Or who knows what is the what is the thing he's offering? If you do this, I'll give this to you, right? The thing is, he has his own motivation to offer people bargains. Hey, if you do this, I'll do this for you. And I guess people just watching this for the first time could think she's making this all up. She's just, she needs to be in a mental hospital, blah, 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 blah. But when you experience it day in and day out for months and, months and comes to years, and, you almost die, get healed from dying, maybe multiple times. You have thyroid cancer that's causing you pain, that Jesus actually healed that for me at one point. See, we haven't had an all bad relationship, but the thing is he'll do kind things, and expect something in return. So one thought someone could be having, you could be having, is how do you know if someone's good? How do you know if someone's trustworthy? I mean, isn't it just black and white? Isn't it like these people are good, those people are bad? But that's why I got into the 16 personalities, and especially like C.S. Joseph's way of teaching it, because you understand like everyone has a virtue and a vice and tendencies based on how all their cognitive functions are set up, and the four sides of their mind, their development level. The thing is, like, godhood isn't really the goal. Like, I was raised to believe that, and so many people were that are, you know, people that know me or that I have known for a long time. We think like, oh, like we can have the greatest happiness if we try to become a god. That whole belief system was created as part of this experiment of putting people on this earth and having this like lower dimensional frequency that was much lower than where they came from. And everyone who came here was like, wow, you're brave. So honestly, if you can hold space, just like every single person you meet, you just think like they're incredibly brave that they're even here. Like that will be the most in alignment with truth that you can get. You know what I mean? But things, you know, institutions, churches, they're set up as part of this experiment, and belief systems are set up to be part of this experiment to see what can be the end result of believing this way, that way. You know, the other day I was thinking that like the whole Joseph Smith story, did God know he was gonna go do that prayer? When did they decide to make that church? No one told him to do that. That's kind of like how my life went. It was like no one told me to think certain thoughts that ended up resulting in certain consequences, where the veil got opened to me and where I hello I'm doing a video. Going back to what I was saying before. So let's say Jesus wants to get away with something. He's like, I'll go to this other timeline, I'll go back in the past, hire a witch, or even like people get cursed to do bad things. Like there's like, I've experienced that too. But anyways, like the timeline thing, you could go back, hire a witch, and be like, okay, at this time, and under these circumstances, you do this thing. Okay, that's one thing that can happen. Another thing is people can be coerced. Like one thing I experienced is there were like souls who hadn't really chosen a side at one point. This was actually months ago before I got to where I'm at now, which is very different than where I was at before. But like souls on the other side of the veil who are not like really for or against anything, they're just kind of like, I don't know, like they got coerced. Maybe this is old news at this point, but it's just like to illustrate like what can happen is that like they can like lose their ability to think things through for themselves. And you see, like, you only have agency if you can think things through for yourself. And when those things are taken away, and I've felt them be taken away from me, where I can't remember things anymore because things are cut, things are disconnected. Now like things are not communicating. So like, and I saw like demons too, like that were like parts of them were taken away, so they could not make different choices. Like they were in a place of having to serve a master, and they didn't have like, a lot of them didn't have like a heart, or just different things were taken away because that's kind of like what the decision was made to do with these people who were choosing evil things. And so they're like, well, you got to go serve this master, and we're going to take all this stuff away from you. So they're basically slaves. So basically, like, the less parts of yourself that are here spiritually or anything. And the thing is, like, your spiritual components need to connect to your physical body components in order for you to function wholly. So the less that is there, the less agency you have, because you can't be aware of everything there is, okay? And then there's also the, like, waking up too. That would be another part of that. Like, it's, and this isn't like, oh, this is the only one thing you need to know. Like, this is just like one of the pieces. But the thing is that, like, you know, I couldn't even be making this video if, you know, certain things were cut. Parts of me were cut. And the thing is, it's just like everyone has their motivation to do this or that. And there's a lot of ways to get away with things. Jesus actually was given this role to be this savior role and create this religion, because he was actually so corrupt before that, like, all of these high beings in this, like, galactic council, or however, I don't know exactly like who it was, but Uriel told me about this. Basically, we're like, we want you to become the savior so you can learn how to not be corrupt. And so, like, that's why he got this role. And, like, Uriel told me that a past version of Jesus told me that, like, I'm just here, or I don't actually know if it was a past version anymore, because sometimes it's hard to keep track of. But, like, I'm just here because like, I took on this role and created churches, or created a church, or whatever. I did this because I'm trying to learn to be less corrupt. So him becoming a savior wasn't a result of perfection. It was a result of other people's, well, Uriel telling him, like, you have to learn how to not be corrupt, because anyone can be corrupt. Anyone can be corrupted. And that's something that I experienced really clearly, actually, for a long time, is that I would connect with different people that I thought, like, these are good people. I read about them. And then they would get cursed, or they would do something bad to me. And I would think, like, why is this happening? Like, why do I have to have this experience? This is so weird. And so there's a lot of things I've had to explore to really understand, like, why I experienced all these different things. But I guess I just kind of got to a point that I'm like, I need to talk about these things, because it's just like, I just need to. And there's definitely a lot more to say, but that's pretty much what I wanted to try to explain. I hope it made some sense.